Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News with Kim and Lisa. You know what they say. When they go low, Sutton goes even lower because she is coming for Dorit's wallet, her designers, and her foreclosed home.
Oh, God, that was tough to watch. I mean, last week I feel like I was kind of on Sutton's side, but this week the pendulum swung the other way because she was completely unhinged at this caviar, caftan, Caspia event. And I mean, she is definitely not letting the mouse go.
Oh, I'm flip-flopping to and fro
Yeah.
this entire season. Then we got Mauricio caught by the paparazzi at the Mykonos airport. And the question on everybody's lips is, was it staged? Was it not? I need to get your thoughts.
Okay, I have some theories on this and we're going to dive into it. But before we get there, make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news.
Okay, so we start off with Jennifer Tilly, and I was actually really excited to see her. I feel like we haven't gotten enough of her this season. I was starting to kind of question her friend of role, but she is hosting probably the most fabulous party of the season, I will say. We get introduced to this place, Caviar Caspia, and it's immediately added to my list of places to go in LA because it is fabulous. She is going to host this caftans jewelry party inspired by Talitha Getty. Question mark. Do you know who Talitha Getty is?
I would love to say that I do know who Talitha Getty is because I feel like she's, a Getty name that is probably some like famous artist or of that family. She's probably a socialite. I don't know. I feel like she's probably like someone who you know if you're really rich. So I would love to know who she is, but I don't.
Exactly, 100%. Like Tilly is giving us rich. Sutton comes over and she just has a gift for Sutton for no reason because she explains she just went to Altamoda in Italy to the Dolce & Gabbana fashion show and she knows Dolce & Gabbana, like they're her family. And it's just the only word I can say is fabulous. I want to come back as Jennifer Tilly in another life because the life that she lives is what everybody aspires to live. Like, it's absolutely amazing. But she's going to host this party. And of course, it's going to be where Sutton and Dorit see each other for the first time since the 4th of July party. And I could not have guessed. If you told me what would happen at this party, what actually happens at this party, because it is insane.
I completely agree with you. And I was also wondering, where was the jewelry at this party? There was a mention of like, oh, it's going to be caftans and jewelry. All I saw were all of Jennifer Tilly's jewels and Faye being like, wait, I need a closer look. Can I try that one on? But there was no like jewelry to shop or, try on or anything like that. And can I just go back to one comment quickly that she made about Dolce & Gabbana when she shocked me when she said that she has to put her stuff on layaway so that she doesn't buy it all at once or something. I don't know what that comment was, but I heard the word layaway and I didn't know that layaway and Dolce & Gabbana could be like in the same sentence.
I did not catch that. That is very surprising. It's giving Walmart layaway. And those two things do not, mesh. Tilly and
Maybe
Walmart. Nope.
yeah, maybe she was joking, but she didn't seem like she was joking. I don't know. If you guys know, weigh in on the comments.
I don't know. It seems like she has like a personal relationship with them. So I don't know. Maybe they have some sort of deal. Maybe she doesn't have to pay full price or pay everything up front because let's be real, they know she's good for it.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get to the party, we have some moments that we need to talk about here. The first one being Kyle and her life coach slash therapist. And I think this actually was a really like pivotal scene because we got to hear Kyle talk about how it seems like she's kind of, I don't know if regretting is the right word, this separation, but she is definitely in her feels about Mo not necessarily fighting for her or acting how she wanted him to act when, the separation first came to light. And yeah, she kind of shares like she doesn't know if it's because he doesn't know how to fight for her or because he didn't want to fight for her. But either way, she felt like he didn't. And that was hurtful. And then she said that before they got divorced, he said things like, I don't know how to be on my own. I don't know how I can be on my own or live on my own. And she says, but he never said, I don't know how I could be without you. And there is a difference there. And so she is telling her therapist, he's living on his own now and he's doing it and he's okay. So now he's realizing, oh, I can do it on my own. And maybe I don't need you after all. And I feel like that was, it's a hard thing for her to process, even though she's kind of the one who, in my opinion, initiated the whole separation. But I just thought this was an interesting scene. And, she's really lonely, like, for lack of a better word. Portia's gone in Europe with him, and all the other girls are out of the house, and Mo's gone. So it's just Kyle and the dogs.
Yeah, I mean, we may like hate on Kyle for certain things throughout the season, the PK texting, et cetera, et cetera. But whenever we get a moment with her about, the whole separation, especially when she's talking to somebody about it or with a therapist like this, it breaks my heart to see it and see her like this, because we know how hard she worked to make this marriage work. They were together for so long. They have such a beautiful family. It definitely breaks my heart. And it even breaks my heart worse when she tells us that she doesn't really want to move on, because what if Mauricio comes back to her? What
Right.
if he decides he wants to work on things? Cut to the end of this episode, and we get Mauricio making out at the airport with some random girl. Like, it's so, like, I can't imagine how she must feel, you know, feeling this and talking about this with her therapist, and then seeing what Mauricio is actually doing. It's heartbreaking. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, she's telling him, like, Mo's off living his best life and I'm still here. And the therapist kind of says, well, why can't you go and do that? And she's basically like, because if I do that, I'm afraid that it'll shut the door completely and like he won't want to come back or something, or like it'll shut the door to the possibility of them getting back together.
Well, that
Well,
totally sucks and is completely unfair that Mauricio is allowed to go date around and be photographed with people. And if Kyle does it for 1 second, or, attempts to see what else is out there, it's like a closed door. Like, and I kind of, if she says it, I kind of believe that. I kind of believe that's how Mauricio would be in that situation. And that sucks.
but it's also unclear if that's how he would react or if that's how she's like thinking it's going to go down in her head. You know what I mean? Like we all kind of make up these scenarios and think, okay, I can't do this because this will happen. But it's like, we don't know that that's actually how it's going to happen. We're just anticipating that. And so I think she's in her head a lot.
True, true. So, talking about making up scenarios, let's jump over to Bose. Uh,
What a segue.
let's jump over to Bose, because last week, the last couple weeks, we've talked about how Keely is the red flag. I'm sorry. I'm starting to think that Bose might actually be the red flag, and I need to get your response to my thoughts on this, because she has a fertility specialist come over to her house. And Keely actually seems very supportive. He's kind of there to listen and learn about what's going on. They do a test. She does have 4 eggs, which I guess is good for her age. But then she goes into this confessional and says, she's like, look, I know this doesn't make sense, but what I do know makes sense is that I love this man. I want to marry this man. I want to have babies with this man. What? You haven't even said I love you, yet in the confessional, she seems so confident that they're going to get married and have kids. This has not been discussed. It definitely seems like it's only happening in her head. I'm not saying that he doesn't feel this way too, but guys, please get on the same page before you jump to this. It seems like she has this scenario in her head of how this will play out when they haven't even gone past the first step.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely skipping many, many steps. And I think it's because she's a woman of action. I think she is used to, she wants something, she goes after it, she gets it done. She gets shit done. And she's like, listen, if we're going to do this, we got to work fast. So let's get to it. Let's bring in the specialists. Let's, do a what's it called? Ultrasound. Sorry, I totally blanked. Let's do the ultrasound and see where we're at and let's get it going. And yeah, meanwhile, Keely's like, yeah, this sounds great, but he hasn't even said I love you. So like you said, we don't know that he doesn't love her, but we also don't know that he does love her because he hasn't said that. So I don't know. I am just I don't love this journey for her. I don't.
I don't either. And a lot of people are saying, oh, don't speak about another woman's, decisions, da 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 da. I get it. I'm not trying to judge, but I don't know. That's kind of what we're here for, to kind of like judge a little bit, I guess. So I don't know. I'm just worried for her. I do love Bose. It comes from a place of worry and care. Like,
Yeah.
it just seems like you are jumping the gun here. And I know age is a factor, but gosh, I don't know. And then her past pregnancy, obviously, she's had a lot of difficulties. I'm just worried for you, Bose. I'm
Yeah.
worried for you. We're looking out for you.
We are. And honestly, like, if she wants to have a baby, go have a baby. Like, if that's what she really wants, then she should do it. But I think the reason why it's giving us pause is because it seems like she's really doing this for him. And we don't know that he's on the same page. So that's where this is coming from.
Yes, agreed. I don't know. I feel like we need him on Watch What Happens Live, like as a bartender or something. I know Bose has been on before, but just to like hear where he's at.
Right, right. And have we confirmed if they're still together?
That I don't know, but could probably be proven with a quick look on social media, maybe. We'll get back to you, or somebody drop it in the comments.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we're getting ready for Caviar Caspia. And immediately, of course, we're taken back. You and me are being taken back to Kathy Hilton's party where she serves baked potato with caviars. And it was one of the most delicious things I've ever had. So I'm here hoping, are they going to serve the caviar on a baked potato? Is this where Kathy, first discovered caviar on a baked potato? I don't know, but in my head it is. And I loved this for them. And
Well, I love
was
it. I
hoping.
love it. I love it for us too. I just a little backstory for all of our new listeners or followers. We went to Kathy Hilton's home for a holiday party and ate a caviar baked potato in her home. She had a whole bar set up with all of the toppings, all of the fixings. We made and ate a caviar baked potato at Kathy Hilton's house, and might I add, with Faye Resnick.
Yes, that's right. We ate with Faye.
That's right. So
But
this hits close to home for us.
gosh, I just felt like I was there,
Yes, absolutely, like, take me back again and again. But anyway, I digress.
Okay, so they're all getting ready, and Sutton, oh man, you can tell she is going to come in guns blazing. Like, she's still holding a grudge from Dorit's 4th of July party. She is not going to let this, slide by. She's not going to let the mouse go. And if in the confessional, like leading up to the event, she says, oh, I like, caviar Caspia, and like, I like the most expensive caviar and blah, blah, blah. I mean, Pori would probably get the red one because that's the cheapest caviar that sometimes you get on top of sushi. So she is just, I mean, she's come ready to play, and she's coming knives out, and like, she's not holding back. She tells Kyle in the car, like, I'm not going to be nice today. This is not the nice Sutton. So, and I thought it was interesting she made that reference, because then when she sits down with Dorit within a few minutes, Dorit says, oh, okay, well, I didn't know what Sutton I was going to get today, but I guess I know now. And Sutton seems so offended that Dorit's saying, okay, sometimes you're one way and sometimes you're another way. Meanwhile, she just said that about herself.
Not poor Reet. Like, what? I can't with that. That was honestly incredible. I wonder if Sutton like had that, ready to go in that confessional or if it just came out. But honestly, poor Reet, I don't know.
Mm.
Like, I
I feel like that was an Avi line that she heard and took from him. I don't know that she's clever enough to come up with that.
okay. We'll give the props to Avi, but honestly, it did make me laugh. But no, Sutton is coming to play. I don't know what got into her, but she is not holding back. She is not letting that mouse go. They arrive to the party. And let's talk about Dorit's outfit. Because she got out of that, SUV. And I'm like, that's not a caftan. She's not wearing a caftan. I thought maybe people were going to let it slide, but no, no, no. She was called out instantly and she missed the memo on the invitation that it was a caftan party. Like, it was probably pretty clear. I would really like to see that invitation. It almost seems like it was intentional that she didn't. I don't know. It was really
Well,
weird.
then she says, I don't really like caftans anyway. So it's like,
Right.
well, yeah. So did you not see the invitation or did you just not wear one because you don't like how you look in them?
Yeah, what a slight at Kyle, too, who has a whole caftan line.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I kind of think there was like an intentionality there.
I
But
think she just doesn't like to wear things that she doesn't feel like she looks her best in. So she's like, fuck it. I'm not going to wear what you want. I'm going to wear what I want. I mean, it was caftan inspired, maybe. It's like a jumpsuit, little bit flowy. I don't know.
maybe, I don't know, but she sits down and it goes off immediately. Like Sutton, I feel like her eyes are bulging out of her head. She's like, "Is it okay for me to drink water?" Like, like immediately just like unhinged off the bat. And like I didn't expect it to go where it went, but Sutton definitely went low. But before that, we had some funny moments. When Garcelle saw that place card that said Anne Marie, I was her in that moment, honestly.
Okay, I noticed it even before they panned to it directly. When they were just showing the table before the ladies came in, I saw a place card and I was like, did that say Anne Marie? And immediately I thought, there's no way. There's no way that they would bring back Anne Marie Wiley from last season, right? And then they showed it, spot on camera close up, Anne Marie, and Garcelle said, who's Anne Marie? Who's Anne Marie? Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no. Like, oh my God. Of course, they do a flashback. Oh gosh, what an awful like casting choice. Sorry.
Esophagus gates.
Oh my gosh. But we also learned more about Tilly too. Did you know she was nominated for an Academy Award?
I did not know that, but well deserved. Well deserved.
Yes.
And she also reveals that she is half Chinese, which I don't think anyone realized. And I was just waiting for Kathy to speak up and say, well, I just learned that I'm Chinese from 3000 BC.
Why she didn't, I'll never know. But didn't Kyle chime in and say she was actually part two for some reason? I don't know. I feel like there were a couple people at the table that did chime in. I don't know why Kathy didn't. But that was just a funny moment.
And then there was talk about Cher from the Valley. And Tilly says, I always wanted to be like Cher. And Erica says, you mean Sherilyn whatever from the Valley?
The Armenian? Like, yeah.
Armenian from the Valley?
Yeah, so sorry, Tilly. I think your dreams of being Cher aren't quite realistic, but
whatever. She's better. She's better.
She's better. So then it all starts to go down at that table. And like Sutton, first of all, starts to aim it at Bose. And Bose is immediately confused. She's like, how many people do you have in you today? And like, Bose is just like, huh? What?
Come
What?
again?
What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. I kind of think that Dorit's comments about Sutton's meds not really like balancing might be on point because she was like out of control. Like, I don't know. Like, and Dorit's like, cut, okay, just back off. No, you back off. You back off.
Right.
Okay. And it was just this like constant bickering back and forth. Like, Sutton went off about the 4th of July party, how she waited, how Dorit took her handbag. Dorit's like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't take a joke. Of course, the alcohol comment. And then Sutton decides to go for the jugular or the wallet and say, you need to pick on somebody else whose wallet fits. And the reaction at that table, everybody, including Garcelle, who we know backs up Sutton for everything, was like, oh God. Oh God, you didn't just say that. Oh God. It was crazy. And then Erica goes, you think you're bigger than her? Well, I think my wallet is. What did you think of this comment? Do you think it was warranted that Sutton is now coming for Dorit's finances?
No, of course not. It's a low blow. It's an easy thing for her to pick on, but it doesn't mean it's a smart argument. It's like when someone's arguing with you and they're just like, "Oh yeah, well you're ugly." And it's like, "Okay, well that has nothing to do with the arguments, but okay, I guess that's hurtful." But it really showed me what Sutton thinks is important. Okay. She thinks that wealth is very, very important. And if you don't have it, then you're not on her level. And comments like this just reinforce that. And I think it's gross. And I think I don't even know that it makes sense. Pick on someone whose wallet fits. Like, what are you're too rich for her to come after? Is that what she's saying? I don't know. It didn't even really make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense at all. Like, I don't know. I guess, she's implying that Dorit is coming after Sutton because she is jealous of the lifestyle that she lives. But I don't really think that that's the case. I don't know if you remember, but before the season dropped, there was this interview with Dorit. And of course, we know they're talking about how the season is going to be about Dorit versus Sutton. And like they brought this up actually, like, is Dorit actually jealous of Sutton? And, they talk about the money, and Dorit's like, well, if Sutton has so much, or I think Sutton made a jab about Dorit's plastic surgery. And then Dorit was like, well, if Sutton has so much money, why doesn't she get plastic surgery?
I do remember that.
Yeah. So I feel like this is an ongoing feud, and I feel like it really has nothing to do with money. And I don't know why Sutton is all of a sudden bringing this up.
Because that's the only thing she has. Like, she knows that she's wealthier than a lot of these ladies, and that's like her hill to stand on. But it's a weak argument, and not to mention, I just think it's ironic how she goes around bragging how rich she is when, like, Sutton, you didn't make that money. Like, I get it. You were married to the man and you supported him as he earned the money. And so you have a right to that money. I agree with that. But it's pretty bold for you to go around pretending like you actually worked for that money because it's alimony. You know what I mean?
1000%.
I'm probably going to get hate for that, but like,
No, I agree. Two things can be true. She was married to the man, Christian, for a very long time. She raised the kids. She deserves the money. But can she then come for another single mom who is struggling for money when she wouldn't have that money if it weren't for her ex?
Right.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And then we have Dorit going off in the confessional saying cunt and bitch and all of this stuff. Like, I don't know. Sutton is literally losing it. She's losing it. She's lost it.
And we get almost a new name a moment when I think it's Kyle says, okay, like, what do you two need from each other? And, Sutton just says, like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And Dorit's like, okay, like, I get it. I feel like the whole time Sutton was being super like aggressive and Dorit was just sitting there kind of like calm and collected. And so I feel like that's the most unnerving thing you can do when you're having an argument with someone is just like sit there and be calm because it only aggravates the other person more and it makes them look more unhinged. And that's exactly what it did.
1000%. I feel like Dorit played it really well in this moment. Garcelle tries to get them to apologize. Of course, it doesn't happen. And I agree that, like, I don't think either one of them really want to have a productive conversation or be civil. I don't think they're to that point yet. I think they're still at the point where they just want to go at it and fling insults at each other, which I
Yeah.
kind of love to watch. But I do think that they need like a separate sit down. But one thing that surprised me was Queen Faye Resnick actually sticking up for Sutton, which I didn't see coming, but she made a good point. She's like, look, I drink as much as you, Sutton, and I don't want to be judged for it. I just want to live my life, and I don't want anybody to come in and be put in a box or judged because of it. And honestly, props to Faye. Props to Faye for that comment because I don't think Sutton has a drinking problem. I'll say that now. I hope I don't regret it in the future. But it does make sense that what Kyle said, why she's so triggered because of her father's past and his addiction struggles and all of that. She is triggered when somebody says she has a drinking problem. And let's be real, like most of the women are drinking at these events. We've never really seen Sutton like belligerent. So I don't know. I like that is where I do lean a little bit more on Sutton's side. Like, Dorit, just let her live. Let's stop with the drinking comments, even though a lot of people are saying Garcelle is actually the one that brought it up in that moment. But I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think Garcelle brought it up in a shady way. She was
No, I don't.
legitimately just asking, like, oh, is there alcohol in that drink?
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
and I don't know. I feel like if Sutton sat down with Dorit and said, like, listen, I don't think I've talked to you about this before, but my dad had a history of substance abuse, and I think it really kind of played into his early death. And it really hurts my feelings when you imply that I have a drinking problem just because I like to have a couple drinks when I'm, with friends and filming and all that. She's never said that to Dorit. She has trouble getting across her actual point in a way that like will resonate. And so I agree. When Kyle kind of did that explanation, it kind of set a light bulb off in my head. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But Sutton's never put it that way. She just gets mad and just, starts insulting Dorit. So until she can explain like what the root of the problem is, I don't know that Dorit's going to understand. And granted, Dorit shouldn't be, making those assumptions and throwing out those accusations anyway. And I get that. But like Sutton just needs to say it in a way that will make sense to Dorit.
I totally get it. I think this will obviously be a big topic of conversation at the reunion. So I'm wondering if there will maybe be a new level of understanding on Dorit's part after the whole Augusta trip and seeing that play out. So I don't know, but
and I think that Meds comment is really going to come back to bite Dorit in the ass too. Because she kind of gets up, Kyle goes after her and she's like, I can't even speak. And Kyle agrees. Sutton is on one today. And Dorit just kind of says, look, if I were to go after her, I would eviscerate her. But you know what? When she balances her meds, then I will have a conversation with her. And I think, again, that's a dangerous thing to say. And I don't think she should have gone there. I think
I went there just about 5 minutes ago. So, whoops.
Whoops.
Oopsie. But I don't know. Sutton was completely unhinged at that lunch. I don't know what got into her. She was just pulling a Dorit and it's like, I've had it up to here, like completely just, losing her shit or what. But I don't know. It was kind of like a different Sutton than we've seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, so if you were to ask me, how much do you think one of those caviar baked potatoes at Caviar Caspia cost? I think my answer would have been, I don't know, $100 to $200.
Yeah,
That,
maybe 2 to 400 maybe for the nice
okay.
caviar.
I've never bought caviar, so I don't know how much it is. But guys, the price range that was listed was $250 to $1,000 for a baked potato with caviar. $1,000. So I'm adding up all the ladies that are there. And let's just, I look, I'm sure Tilly didn't get the full, most expensive price. Maybe she did. I don't know. If she did, let's say it's $1,000 a plate. There were, I don't know, 20, 25 ladies there. That's an expensive lunch.
It is. It is only to be ruined by Sutton and Dorit yelling at each other. I mean, let's be real. They hadn't even served them the lunch before Sutton just started going at it. If I were Tilly, I would have been more, I guess she is Sutton's friend, but I would have been pretty upset that this lunch that cost thousands ended up like this. Honestly, I would have been upset.
But do
But
you also think it's kind of par for the course and they expect it? Because there is no world in which a housewife's lunch, dinner, anything sitting down at a table is going to blow up. Like that is just the rule. That is the standard. That is the norm.
this is true. This is true. But I would have been on the sidelines. I just got to shout out Kathy and Faye again because they were just kind of on the sidelines enjoying their caviar, like snickering at all of this and Faye chiming in. Gosh, I love them. I needed more from them this episode. I was happy to see them. Love Kathy, love Faye. We actually like had a pretty decent sized conversation with Faye. Fabulous woman. Would love to see more of her on this show, honestly. I'm sure she's been asked and has declined. But Faye, if you're listening, maybe, I don't know. We want you in the drama more.
More Faye. Yeah, we didn't get nearly enough from Kathy this episode. We got like flashes of her, but we didn't get her saying anything.
No, we didn't. We need more. But we end the episode with the moment that was teased last episode, but was kind of also teased at the end of this episode. Again, Mauricio getting spotted at the Mykonos airport with an unidentified woman. Now, everybody's freaking out about this. And it's not necessarily because he's like, of course, they're upset that he's with another woman. But everybody's like, oh my God, this was staged. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not my first thought. But then, like, everybody's who's been to that airport is kind of like analyzing, well, it's a really small airport. No paparazzi are ever there. This had to be staged. Who called? Was it Mauricio? Was it Kyle? Was it the woman? Like, I don't know. They think that Kyle and Mauricio are like using the media and the paparazzi to stage this war of the roses, they call it, because obviously we've seen a lot of photos of Kyle and Morgan, getting gas, walking along the street, going shopping, etc. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Okay, maybe I'm naive, but guys, I thought that this was just a fan who saw Mauricio at the airport and was like, oh, damn, there's Mauricio. Oh, who's he kissing? I'm going to snap a photo and send it to the Daily Mail or Us Weekly or whoever it is. That was a grainy ass zoomed in photo. Okay, that was not a paparazzi lens that is, a foot and a half long and gets super crisp pictures. That was not the Heather Dubrow, Terry Dubrow Disneyland photo quality. So I don't know. They all seem to think that it was paparazzi. I just thought it was a fan that snapped a photo. That's my thinking. What about you?
Well, I had the same thought. It's giving Dumois Sunday Spotted. Like, it's giving somebody, a fan, saw Mauricio. If I saw that in the airport, you better believe that I would be taking out my phone to video it or take a picture because that's newsworthy content right there. I agree with you. I think somebody saw them. I think that they sent it to whatever outlet and got paid a lot of money for it, honestly. So I don't know. I don't really think that Mauricio or this woman would call the paparazzi to take this photo. What's even worse for me is, remember, Mauricio is actually on this trip with Portia. He explains that he like dropped her off with a friend in like another country and then he was off to Mykonos. I don't I'm not sure that he would do that to Portia when he's kind of on this trip with her, like, let alone I know that they're not together in this moment, but you know what I mean? He's like traveling with his daughter, and I think he like dropped her off and went to go meet this other woman, maybe to do kind of like an under the radar trip with her.
Yeah.
I don't see Mauricio like planning this when he's on vacation with Portia currently.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. Like, I don't think he would do that because I think it would hurt his daughters. Like, if he were to call paparazzi and say, "Hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be meeting this girl. We're going to kiss when we see each other. Like, I want you to get the pic." I
Yeah,
feel like he has a little more sensitivity as a dad than that.
I agree. A lot of people think it could also be the girl who called the paparazzi. I guess she's an influencer. I forget who it actually was. I think Mauricio's like past her at this point. But I don't know. I wonder if we will actually find out or get to the bottom of this. But I don't know. I think your theory is spot on because I don't see Mauricio doing this when he's on vacation with Portia. I don't know. Maybe the girl wanted her 15 minutes of fame, but oh, I don't know. We'll see. We see kind of the reaction of it, and I'm sure we'll see more fallout next week. So I'm really interested to see where that goes and whether, this kind of makes Kyle, finally come to a decision or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Kyle's kind of like, no, Mo wouldn't do that. But, we'll see what happens. I think things are starting to pick up. Like I felt some energy this episode, which I appreciated. And, let's see how things continue to evolve with the Dorit and Sutton of it all.
Yes, we've got the cash trip coming soon. The infamous Kathy Hilton runway moment, I think, will finally happen next week. So I'm excited to see that. So we'll be back to cover it all. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.